Hello students, welcome to this EDUSAT English teleteaching program. Today we are going to discuss one of the most important chapters in your grammar textbook, that is prepositions. So, I think you are all fine today and you will be very careful and attentive to listen to me. So, let us begin our grammar session with a story, with a very interesting story. You know this story. The story is, now you look at the picture and you can guess what might be the story. The story is the woodcutter and his axe, right? And you listen to me, I am going to tell you the story. Once a woodcutter went to a forest on the river bank. He started cutting wood. Suddenly what happened? His axe fell into the river. He prayed to God to help him. God of water heard his prayer. He came out of water and asked him, "Why are you crying? What happened to you?" The woodcutter replied, "My axe has fallen in the water." So, what happened then? The God of water dived into the water and came out with two axes. One was golden and the other was iron axe. "Which one is yours?" God asked him. "The axe made of iron is mine. Please give it to me," said he. "The golden axe is a reward for your goodness," the God said to the woodcutter. "You are good and honest. Take your own axe." The woodcutter thanked the God and took both the axes. God said, "Go and live a happy life, never cut the trees again." So, dear students, you listen to the story, a very nice story, and you also you can learn a very good lesson. We should not cut down the trees, because trees are very useful to us. So, you listened. Let us go to the story once again, right. Mark the red colored words to, on, into, to, for. Once a woodcutter went to a forest on the river bank. He started cutting wood. Suddenly his axe fell into the river. He prayed to God for help. So, dear children, you now mark these red colored words, very small words, but they play very important role in the story or in the language, and these are called prepositions, right. So, let us go to the next paragraph. God of water heard his prayer. You see, of water, out of water, then to you, in the water. So, of, out of, to, in, these small words, they are all prepositions. Now, you look at the last part of the story. The God of water dived into. So, of, into, with, then the axe made of iron, right. Please give it to. So, to, of, with, into, these are also small words and these are prepositions in grammar, right. So, now you look at this, the last part. The golden axe is a reward for your goodness, for your goodness. The God said to the woodcutter. So, for, to. My dear children, these small words, these are all called prepositions. Now, you look at this screen. We have four pictures, right. So, a ball is on the box, a ball is in front of the box, there is a ball in the box and the ball is under the box, right. So, we have four sentences. The ball is on the box, the ball is in front of the box, the ball is in the box and the ball is under the box. So, my dear children, we have four sentences, right, and all the parts, all the words in the sentences except on, in, under, these three words, all other words are same words, but the different is meaning. You can look at the pictures. So, just a simple word, a very small word can change the meaning of a sentence. So, you just see, if you take away the words, then we cannot get the meaning of these 4 sentences. The ball is the box, the ball is the box. सब सेंटेंस रे चारोटी जाक सेंटेंस रे केवल द बॉल इज द बॉक्स आसीबो, राइट. इफ यू टेक अवे जदि आम नहीं जिबा ऑन इन अंडर ए चारोटी जाक प्रेपोजिशन को जदि नहीं जिबा अन्य वर्ड गुडी को एका रहिबो किंतु मीनिंगलेस हे जिवो. सो नाउ यू सी हाउ दिस स्मॉल वर्ड्स, इवन 2 लेटर वर्ड, दीटा अक्षर अछि, दीटा लेटर अछि गोटे वर्ड रे, but it helps the entire sentence to give the meaning, and the sentence becomes meaningless without these small words, right. And you look at the last diagram, pre plus preposition, preposition. So, what happens here? These words, they talk about or they say something about the position of the object, that is ball, and the relation between ball and box. So, one sentence ball is on the box, another sentence ball is in front of the box, another sentence ball is inside the box, in the box, and another sentence ball is under the box. So, these prepositions, they can change the meaning and they are used before the noun phrase, the table, everywhere you can find this, and that is why this is the preposition, means before the noun phrase, and that talks about the relation or position of the object or the thing in relation to that noun phrase. That is why this is called preposition. Let us see some more examples, so that we can understand prepositions very clearly, right. Now, you just see, look at the picture you have seen at the time of the beginning, right. There is a temple on the hill. Number 2 sentence, he is good at English. The cat jumped off the chair, right. We have 3 sentences and we have 3 different types of small letters, or what we have already identified, prepositions, right. So, on, at, off, these are prepositions, and in sentence number 1, the word on shows the relation between 2 things, a temple and the hill. That means, there is a temple on the hill. So, it talks about the position or the location or the situation of the temple. Where the temple is? It is on the hill, right. So, in sentence 2, the word at shows the relation between the adjective good and English. So, he is, my friend is good at English, means he is good for what? He is good at English, right. And the last sentence, the cat jumped off the chair, that is that small word or of, the preposition, that actually shows the relation between the action, action means jumping action expressed by the verb, jump verb, right, and the chair. So, jumping action and chair, the relation is he jumped off the chair, out of the chair, right. So, these are all prepositions, and we can now get the meaning, what is that preposition. When we talk about some sentences, a preposition is usually used, that is used before, that is why pre is there, pre means before. So, position means it talks about the position of something or some action in relation to another, right. So, a small word placed before a noun or pronoun or noun phrase or pronoun, and it shows in what relation the person or thing denoted by it stands in regard to something else. That means, it talks about the relation between this noun phrase and the other thing, right. So, what are the other things? So, my dear children, I think you can understand all these things, right. So, we started with a story, we identified what are the prepositions, and we also saw how prepositions are very important in sentences, how a preposition plays an important role, and the preposition can also helps us give the meaning of that sentence. And we also found, if we take away the prepositions, we cannot get the meaning of the sentences appropriately, right. And preposition, you see, The same examples I have put here for examination, for analysis. Let us see what happens. There is a temple, we have already discussed, there is a temple on the hill. He is good at English, the cat jumped off the chair, and we discussed a preposition joins a noun phrase to another noun phrase. You see. So, first sentence, a temple, this is a noun phrase, and the hill, this is also another noun phrase. So, on the preposition actually keeps relation between these two noun phrases, right, and a noun or pronoun which is used with the preposition is called its object. So, what is that object? That means the object is actually, you see, a preposition may have two or more objects. The road runs over hill and plain, two objects are. There is a temple on the hill, at English, of the chair. So, these are all called objects of the prepositions in grammar, right. So, now you see we have different types of things which can be used as objects of prepositions, right. So, object of preposition, you see, noun, in the first sentence the boatman is rowing the boat in the lake, right. The lake is here the object, and it is the object in the form of a noun phrase. The lake, here it is a noun phrase, the is the article, lake is noun, and lake is the name of a water font, we can say, right. So, the lake here, this is a noun phrase, and in the lake is here object. So, noun phrase as object. Then come to second sentence, pronoun, a little boy is sitting beside it. So, beside is the preposition and it is the pronoun. So, here it is the object of this preposition beside. And in number 3 sentence, right, in sentence number 3, the school has improved since his coming. So, since, this is preposition, and his coming, this is a gerund ing word, coming, right. So, that is why since his coming, this is once again improved since his coming. So, his coming is used as gerund, and this is the object of the preposition since. And now come to sentence number 4. So, dear children, I think you are all able to understand all these things, because these are very simple things, right. So, this is the nice place to live in. So, the preposition comes at the end, in, that means in where, to live in, here to live, this is infinitive, and this is your object of the preposition. Noun clause, you see, you should be happy with what you have. So, WH word, that is the noun clause begins with the relative, that is begins with the WH word, what you have, and this what you have is the object of the preposition, that is with, right. So, now we decided, we identify the prepositions, we know what is a preposition, the meaning of preposition, and where the prepositions are used in the sentence, and we also discussed what are the objects of prepositions, right. Now, you look at these sentences, there are 3 sentences here. Here is the book that you are looking for. What are you talking about? There is a man who I was speaking of. In these 3 sentences, my dear children, you can find the red words at the end of the sentences. For, about, of, these 3 prepositions, they appear at the end of the sentences, they are used at the end of the sentences, right. And in number 1 sentence, its object is a relative pronoun, right. Here is the book, you are looking for that, you just see the relation, for that, looking for that. So, that is the relative pronoun, and this is the object. In sentence number 2, what are you talking about? So, you are talking about what? Interrogative pronoun, right. You are talking about what? So, the object is what. And in sentence number 3, there is a man I was speaking of. So, I was speaking of a man. So, when its object is a relative pronoun, it is understood, that means there is a man about or who I was speaking of, right. So, I think, my dear children, Now, you are able to understand what is preposition, you are able to identify prepositions and you know the objects of prepositions. Then we will discuss the types of preposition, the kinds of or classification of prepositions, right. So, dear students, you are using prepositions in your language in English. When you are writing, when you are speaking, you are using, but maybe you do not know you are using different types of prepositions, different kinds of prepositions. So, now we will discuss. So, what are the kinds of prepositions? What types of prepositions we are using in our language? So, prepositions can be classified in two ways, my dear children. In grammar, in English grammar, we have two things. In our previous grammar class, I have also told you the grammar has two sides. One side is its the form of the item and another side is the function or the work of the grammatical item. ଯେମିତି ପିଲାମାନେ ଜଣେ ଖାକି ପୋଷାକ ପିନ୍ଧିଥିବା ଲୋକ से पुलिसमैन हो पारे बा फरेस्टमैन हो पारती किंतु सेमानकर काम भिन्न भिन्न. सो वी कैन लुक एट द फॉर्म और ड्रेस एक्जाक्टली बाय लुकिंग एट द ड्रेस और द फॉर्म वी हैव डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ प्रेपोजिशंस एंड लुकिंग एट देयर फंक्शनल वर्क वी हैव डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ प्रेपोजिशंस. सो प्रेपोजिशंस कैन बी क्लासिफाइड in two ways, looking at their dress or form and looking at their function or meaning, right. So, now you see prepositions according to their form. आमे preposition को देखी कि कही दबा जे एटा को preposition किछि बुझी नथिबा छोटिया word टे आमे ताकू देखी दबा we can see it and we can say whether this is simple preposition or this is multi word prepositions, right. So, simple prepositions means single word, small word, you see in, on, at, of, with, out, under, above, among, beside, through, down, along, off, opposite, till, since, for, before and some other prepositions are there. They are very small single word and they are all called simple prepositions. My dear children, you just remember and look at the prepositions. And multi-word prepositions means more long words, maybe the two words joined together, maybe three words, it means the preposition contains or consists of three words. You just see when we have multi-words means more than one word, right. Suppose in two, in one preposition two, and when we combine we have another preposition that is into, this is a multi word preposition and some grammarians केतेक grammarian माने से माने ताकू compound preposition बोली कहती. In your book you can find this multi word preposition, right. So, compound preposition into, unto, as to, as for, alongside, instead of, out of, these are some compound prepositions and some phrasal prepositions are there. Phrase भलिया आमे तम कहबा जदि हम कहबा in front of, in spite of, the back of, by means of, with reference to, with regard to, all these type of they are phrasal, but these compound and phrasal prepositions they are all called multi word prepositions. And my dear children, you have a long list in a table in your grammar book and you can go through all the prepositions, you can know what are the prepositions, what are different types of prepositions. And there are some other prepositions which are also they are gerund type, gerund ing type preposition and we say participial prepositions, right. Ending, considering that, regarding this, accepting this, pending, right, all these things. So, ending, considering, regarding, ending the speech. I would like to give a big thank you to like this, all these things, ending, considering, regarding, respecting, accepting, pending, these are participial. Participial means they are actually formed from the verbs. Suppose consider is a verb, we add ing, that becomes considering, and that is a ing, or that is called participle ing, participle or gerund, right, and these are also used at prepositions. So, my dear children, this classification, simple or multi-word prepositions and participle prepositions, this classification is based on their forms. Forms mean ताकू देखी कि हमें कहवा छोटिया वर्ड जोड़िया लेटर गोटे वर्ड ताकू कहया सिंपल, इन, ऑन, एट, ऑफ, देखी देले कहि देले हम सेटा सिंपल प्रीपोजिशन. तेणु देखी कि जहां कहवा खाकी पोशाक पिंदी कि धला पोशाक पिंदी आम देखी कि जहां कहवा रूपटा को से होची फॉर्म. सो फॉर्म रे हमरो वी हैव टू टाइप्स ऑफ सिंपल एंड मल्टी वर्ड प्रीपोजिशंस. एंड लेट्स गो टू द फंक्शन साइड. कौन व्हाट वर्क दे डू, what is the meaning of these prepositions, and when we talk about the meaning of prepositions, work or functions of prepositions, then we say the classification is based on their function. Let us go to their functions. So, prepositions can be grouped according to their functions. They can be prepositions of place, prepositions of time, and other prepositions like means of travel, means of communication, instrument, agency, modes of payment, all these things they will come under other prepositions. So, my dear children, once again I repeat, this is very important, you can remember this. Preposition can be classified looking at their form, looking at their function. Looking at their form देखी कि हमें we can say simple or multi word. छोटिया word टे किबा केतरा word मिसी के हिची. Simple word means a very small word having 2 or 3 or 4 letters. Multi word means 2 words joined together, and they may be compound, they may be phrasal prepositions, and we have another type of preposition basing on form, that is gerundive or we can say participle. Now, looking at the meaning, we have 3 types or 3 kinds: prepositions of place, prepositions of time, and other prepositions, right. So, let us discuss the prepositions of place first. Now, you see, under prepositions of place, we have different types of prepositions, many prepositions: by, beside, over. That means the prepositions which talk about the place. If I say there is a my book is on the table, then it talks about where is the book? The book is on the table. It talks about the place. The preposition gives the meaning of the place. That is why these are called prepositions of place, and these prepositions are by, beside, over, above, under, below, beneath, through, across, along, behind, before, between, opposite, of, in, on, towards, for, at, etc. many prepositions. And we can also use to talk about time. If I say, what is the time by your watch? We should come in time. You should be present here on time. We have been staying here since 1995. So, since all these are prepositions which talk about or which are used to talk about the time or gives the meaning about time, right. So, at, in, on, by, for, since, from, to, till, until, between, during, all these prepositions are used to talk about prepositions of time. So, my dear children, now we discussed the classification of prepositions, and our next discussion will be on specific prepositions. Suppose we will discuss prepositions of place, then we will see which prepositions and how we can use these prepositions to talk about place or time or any other meaning, right. So, today what we discussed, we started with a story, we discussed how to identify prepositions and what is prepositions or the meaning of prepositions, and we also discussed how preposition keeps relation between noun phrase and another noun phrase, one noun phrase and one verb, one noun phrase and another adjective. So, how the prepositions they have also objects, we have discussed different objects of prepositions, and now we discussed the types or kinds of prepositions. In the next session, we will discuss the use of these prepositions, particularly prepositions of place, prepositions of time and other prepositions. I think you understand something, you have a long list, you have a number of things, number of ideas in your textbook. So, your homework is you look at your book, read your grammar book, that chapter, preposition chapter, and try to understand what we discussed. Thank you, children. See you.